I think a lot of people secretly feel lost right now. And I don't just mean confused about what career to choose or what direction to go in. I mean sincerely lost. Waking up every day feeling emotionally exhausted, questioning yourself, feeling behind in life, wondering why everyone else seems to be moving forward while you feel stuck in the exact same place. And after a while, that feeling starts changing you. You stop recognizing yourself. You lose confidence. You start questioning your purpose, your future, sometimes even your value as a person. And the hardest part is, most people around you don't even realize you're going through it. And honestly, I think a lot of people are carrying this feeling silently right now. Because the truth is, modern life puts an enormous amount of pressure on people to feel like they should already have everything figured out. By a certain age, you're supposed to have the career, the money, the confidence, the relationship, the direction, and this clear sense of who you are as a person. But real life usually doesn't work that way. Sometimes life hits people in the ways they never expected. Sometimes people go through failure, rejection, betrayal, burnout, loss, disappointment. And after enough of those experiences, something starts happening internally. You stop feeling connected to the version of yourself you thought you were going to become. And I think that's why so many people secretly feel lost. Because it's not always about not knowing what job to take or what path to follow. Sometimes it's deeper than that. Sometimes people are trying to rebuild their confidence, rebuild their identity, rebuild their belief in themselves. And the difficult part about rebuilding is that most of the time, it doesn't look like progress while you're going through it. A lot of rebuilding looks messy, it looks slow, it looks uncertain, and from the outside, it can even look like failure. But I think a lot of people are actually rebuilding during the exact seasons of life where they believe they're falling apart. And honestly, over the last several years of my life, I know exactly what that feeling is like. Back in 2019, after graduating university with honors, making the dean's list, earning academic awards, and already having a 2 year college diploma before that, I sincerely believed my life was finally beginning. I thought all the years of hard work, studying, stress, sacrifice, and student debt were finally about to pay off. I thought opportunities would start opening. I thought employers would see my education, my work ethic, my passion, and I honestly believed the future was finally starting to come together. But that's not what happened. Between graduating in May of 2019 and Christmas Eve of that same year, I sent out resume after resume after resume. I had interview after interview and rejection after rejection. And I can still remember getting that rejection on Christmas Eve morning of 2019. All these years later, and I can still remember it to this day. And I think moments like that slowly start changing people internally. Because after enough disappointment, you stop just questioning your situation. You start questioning yourself. And then in 2020, COVID happened. The world shut down, jobs disappeared, everything became uncertain. So I tried rebuilding in a different direction. I went back to tutoring accounting students at my local university, something I truly love doing. And for a while, things actually started improving for me. But eventually, that chapter ended as well. Then in 2023, for the first time in my life, I finally experienced what I thought was real success. I became involved in affiliate marketing for a company that was based in the US in Texas. And suddenly, I was making more money than I ever made in my life. Money I could only dream about. At one point, I was making up to $6,000 a week. And honestly, for the first time in a very long time, I finally felt hopeful again. I felt stable. I felt confident. I felt like maybe my life was finally turning around. And then that collapsed too. And when that collapsed, honestly, it hit me hard because I went from finally feeling financially stable, finally feeling hopeful, finally feeling like I had momentum in my life, to suddenly having everything disappear again. And what made it even harder was realizing the entire thing was built on something dishonest. The owner of this company had apparently done this multiple times before under different business names. And when everything finally fell apart, people stopped getting paid, the business collapsed, and just like that, the life I thought I was rebuilding disappeared with it, gone. And after that, I remember feeling like a complete failure, not just financially, internally. Because when you spend years trying to rebuild your life over and over again, and every time you finally start believing things are turning around, something falls apart. Eventually, it starts damaging the way you see yourself. And even after all that, I still tried rebuilding again. I decided to go back to what I originally went to school for, which was accounting. I ended up starting a bookkeeping business with someone I trusted deeply. We spent months building this business, planning, organizing, doing everything we could to create something real. And honestly, I truly believed this was finally going to work, but the business never really got off the ground. The market was extremely competitive, debt started piling up, financial pressure started building. And then eventually, the person I trusted most in the business completely disappeared. They drained the remaining money from the company account and abandoned everything and left me handling the collapse of the business on my own. The debt, the business closure, the tax filings, the stress, everything. And honestly, I don't even know if I can fully explain to you the level of betrayal and emotional exhaustion I felt during that period of my life. Because at that point, it no longer felt like I was just struggling financially. It felt like life itself just kept knocking me back down every time I tried standing up again. And I think after enough setbacks like that, people start losing confidence in themselves. They stop trusting their decisions. They stop believing in their future. And eventually, they start wondering if maybe they're just destined to fail. But even after everything, there was still a part of me that refused to completely give up. And honestly, a huge reason for that was my mother. My mother has always believed in me, even during the seasons of my life where I struggled to believe in myself. She supported me through some of the most darkest and most confusing periods of my life. And when someone continues loving and believing in you during the moments where you feel broken internally, that really changes you. And I think another part of me simply became too stubborn to stay down forever. Because no matter how many setbacks I've gone through, no matter how many times life knocked me back down, there has always been something inside me that keeps wanting to stand back up again. Even when I lost confidence in myself, even when I questioned my purpose, even when I felt emotionally exhausted, there was still this small part of me that believed maybe my life still meant something. And over time, I started realizing something else. For a long time, I carried a lot of bitterness watching other people succeed, especially online. I would see younger people making enormous amounts of money, building huge audiences, living these incredible lifestyles, while I felt like I was drowning internally. And honestly, there were times I became resentful because I kept thinking to myself, I did everything the right way. I went to school, I worked hard, I sacrificed, I pushed myself. So why did it feel like everyone else was moving forward while I kept falling backwards? But over time, I realized I only was seeing people's success, not their story. I wasn't seeing their pain, their failures, their loneliness, their struggles, the things they survived privately before anyone ever saw their success publicly. And I think all of these experiences slowly changed the way I see people and the way I see life itself. Because now, when I see people struggling, I understand how heavy life can become internally. I understand how exhausting it feels trying to rebuild yourself over and over again. And honestly, maybe that's the part of what rebuilding really is. Maybe rebuilding isn't just about rebuilding your finances or your career. Maybe it's rebuilding your confidence, your identity, your relationship with yourself, your belief in your future. And maybe feeling lost doesn't always mean your life is falling apart. Maybe sometimes it means you're slowly becoming someone new. And I think that's why so many people silently struggle during rebuilding seasons of life. Because from the outside, people may see confusion, failure, uncertainty, but internally, some people may actually be trying to rebuild themselves piece by piece. And maybe some of you listening to this right now know exactly what that feels like. Maybe you've gone through seasons of your life where you stopped recognizing yourself. Maybe you have felt exhausted, disconnected, behind, or emotionally stuck while watching everyone else seem to move forward. Maybe you've spent years trying to rebuild quietly while no one around you fully understood how heavy things felt internally. And honestly, I think more people are carrying those feelings than we realize, especially today. I think there are a lot of people waking up every day trying to hold themselves together while secretly feeling lost inside. And if that's you, I just want you to know that feeling lost does not make you broken. Feeling lost does not make you weak. And feeling behind in life does not mean your story is over. Sometimes people are rebuilding during the exact seasons where they think they're falling apart. And maybe some of the confusion, the setbacks, the uncertainty, and the pain you've gone through are shaping parts of you that you just can't fully see yet. And honestly, if any part of this connected with you, I'd sincerely love to hear your story too. Have you ever gone through a season of life where you felt completely lost or disconnected from yourself? And if you did, what helped you keep going? Because honestly, I think a lot more people are carrying these kinds of struggles silently than we realize. And I think that's part of the reason I wanted to start this channel in the first place. Not to pretend life is easy, not to pretend I have everything figured out, but to have real conversations about struggle, rebuilding, identity, purpose, pain, growth, and what it actually means to keep moving forward when life doesn't go the way you thought it would. Because I know what it feels like to feel lost. I know what it feels like to question yourself. And I sure know what it feels like to keep rebuilding your life while wondering if things will ever truly change. But I also believe there are a lot of people quietly fighting battles nobody else fully sees. And maybe if we can have honest conversations about those struggles, people won't feel so alone while going through them. So if this video connected with you in any way, and if you're rebuilding parts of your life too, you are always welcome here. And if you would like to continue this journey with me, subscribing is one of the best ways to support the channel and stay connected as future videos release. I sincerely thank you for listening, and remember, maybe you're not lost. Maybe you're